Let's move on now. And let's switch our focus to the next topic. Unlocking long-duration energy storage, navigating towards a profitable and sustainable energy future. For that, Leon Haupt, Storage Business Case Analyst and founder at Phelas, is here with us today to share some insights. Welcome. You have your here. Right here.
So, test. You can hear me? Perfect. All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Leon. I'm founder and business developer at Phelas. We are a Munich-based energy storage company, and well, my background is not the technical side. I'm more the energy economist, and I'm trying to think about this topic, unlocking long-duration energy storage, quite deeply. And we've been doing a lot of projects in the past, and today I want to share some observations, and I want to kind of start a thinking process, which you might already have started, but if not, maybe some insights for unlocking exactly this topic you can take away from today. Well, let's start with that. It's an energy tech summit, so I don't have to go through that. It's the all-known Ragone plot. Everyone does it a little bit differently to frame their own narrative. Well, I want to look at what kind of needs does a power system have. We have here kind of like the power. We have on the y-axis the energy. And we see that, of course, we have kind of like all the ancillary services and so on in the lower duration. And we are getting here in this shaving of peak loads and eventually here in the strategic generation backup area. And for us, it's quite clear that there is kind of like different areas. We have here the short-term area. We have here what we call long duration, and then, well, we call it sometimes ultra-long duration or seasonal, which is then on the upper right corner, just to separate out a couple of these different applications, because especially in Germany, I feel like these things are mixed together, torn around, and not really properly separated in discussions. So I want to do that here as a service. And that also means that different technologies, of course, it's always a function of the economics, are in here. You have to separate that out. And we see that, especially with the share of renewables, that we are now shifting with Germany at 50% roughly, that we are getting from this short duration as a sprinter to a more long duration applications. And of course, then the end game will be what we call the Ironman as the seasonal application. But we are right now kind of tackling that. And the question is, well, everyone agrees on we need a lot of energy storage, and we are really in the beginning of this kind of change. But the question is, if there's such a big consensus on that, why are we not unlocking the full potential? Like, what is holding us back? And I try to, as a business developer and also analyst, I look at that from two different sides. On the one hand, you look at the endogenous parameters, like what we heard before, the different technologies, the cycle life, all that things which come out of the technology. On the other hand, we see incentive structures, regulation, climate, all of that, whether we have a cap and floor, now in the UK discussed, the capacity market in Germany coming, all these other things. And only if they're coming together, we find that business case. And well, it seems like these two things have to come together. We need new technologies which are pushing this boundary. We need new incentive structures and on the other hand side. But I'm here today and telling you that there's a third one. And it's actually how we capture the value of flexibility. And I see that as a big problem right now in the industry, because we're coming from this project finance perspective from wind and solar, and we're trying to use the same concept in energy storage. And I think that is not perfect, it's not wrong, but it's not right either. And well, I'm saying the project approach to energy storage is flawed. Let me explain why. We have a standard system. Well, I'm an engineer, that's why I like this kind of graphs. We have, well, storage, we have wind or solar, we have a grid connection, we have all these different markets. Well, here now for Germany with FCR, AFR, day-ahead, intraday. And the first problem is, I see a lot of projects being kind of independently sized and designed. Like, you look at storage independently from the solar asset. You say like you do co-located, but actually what you're doing is you just share the grid connection with the renewable energy asset. You're not planning them integratedly. The other thing is, we don't have a good understanding of congestion and curtailment. And I see that a lot of projects are being planned without that major component being taken into account. And the other thing is merchant. We are mainly looking into merchant solutions, while the whole PPA topping is now gaining traction. but not for co-located. It's even down the road. So I see these kind of as challenges. And the last one is you have to look into a portfolio perspective, because it's nice that you take decisions on single project level, but you want to also minimize and correlating portfolio risks in your decision. So you need to have a better understanding what technologies you want to use to actually kind of mitigate that risk. And that is already the point. I say, look at the insurance effect of energy storage. We do mainly analyze, that's kind of like a typical analysis we do. What are the cash flows 20 years in the future, these markets, what's the IRR? Great. But it misses exactly all these points. And what we are proposing is a more sophisticated method, which is scary because it's more sophisticated, but is also helping us to capture these problems better. By looking into different market prices, which we cannot predict, we can actually predict certain curtailment scenarios. It's not impossible. You can make scenarios up for that. A bad number or no number is worse than a bad number in that case. And you can look into weather fluctuations, all that. You have models, you have all these kind of things. And by that, looking into what we call a probability distribution. And what we see is that without storage, like especially from a renewable energy asset, that the IRR distribution is actually more risk prone than when you are introducing energy storage. And we have this perfect method, P90, P50, you know that from wind and solar. But we're not using it for storage because the methods are not there, it's too complicated, etc. But that would be a starting point to exactly get to the insurance effect. And I'm telling you that a storage system can provide value beyond the revenue streams. It can actually help you to de-risk your co-located or your wind profile. And that's already my summary for today. It's a 10-minute talk, so I had to make it really short. But energy storage is acting as a de-risking measure. And we have to start finding also methods to convey that to investors, to convey that exactly to the developers to understand how they can actually transfer that message. And, well, the first thing, I was like, what's the business case of an emergency generator? You don't have a business case. It's kind of like exactly that. We have to rethink that also for storage, that it helps us to navigate through rough times, which we might not have on our radar. The second one is think of dispatchable renewable power plants as a whole, not only as kind of integrated systems optimizing for each other. And also, last but not least, take into account curtailment. It's not that difficult. Like we can come up with simple numbers just to start understanding what would be the economic impact. Well, last slide. That's now the advertisement. We at Phelas, we're doing both. We're doing hardware, liquid air energy storage on the hardware side, but also we are looking really strongly on this business case side, how we can quantify these things better to also unlock the potential of energy storage. So, thank you very much.